What is up, guys? The Retro Gamer here with another video, and today I'm going to be telling you guys how I started collecting, where I went wrong, and how you should start collecting on a budget. So let's get started. Starting with where I collected, I started with the Nintendo Entertainment System. One of the worst mistakes I ever made. The Nintendo is a very well, no, this is not a worst mistake for me. This would be a bad mistake for someone like you, because if you're an online buyer, this is a very expensive console, probably upwards of $60 with all the hookups and a lid and a good 72-pin connector. So the first thing I did was I bought games for it, and I bought a retro emulator, which was $15, and it could play all these NES games. My plans in the beginning were to just collect games and just have emulator consoles. That plan fell through the shitter when I found out that, guys, my camera just stopped recording because I had no space apparently. But that plan fell through the shitter because emulator consoles just aren't a real thing, and I found out that I had this store near me where I could get all these consoles for dirt cheap. There's actually two stores. One has good deals, the other one is straight up priced, but he has all the consoles that I want. So I started collecting games. My first ever 3 games, that sentence made no sense, were... What are they all on this side? Oh, here we go. The Simpsons. Rambo was my very first one. And Iron Tank, wherever, right there. That was my second one, and that was my third one. So those are the games I started collecting. From there on out, I probably got another 5 games before I actually got this console. And when I got this, I got it for $20, no lid of course, and it had... And I also got 3 games with it. I got RoboCop, Back to the Future, and Solar Jetman. Solar Jetman's a really fun game. It's actually in 3D, but moving on to what else I did. Next thing I did was I traded in the Sega Genesis, or I traded in my retro emulator for the Nintendo to this old guy who gave me this Sega Genesis. They're actually probably worth the same, and it was worth it because if you saw my last video, I just tested this thing today, the same day I'm recording this video, and it freaking worked. Who would have guessed? You should have seen it. I wish I would have started making videos when I got this. The dust on this thing was insane. It looked like a hunk of garbage, but it wasn't. And I bought one game with that for $4, wasted my freaking money. Was baseball for the Sega Genesis. I am not a sports guy. I don't collect sports games. I bought it to test the system, and it wasn't worth it. So I traded that back in for $1, and I got Sonic the Hedgehog for $5. Online, of course. I was kind of at a hole for games. Believe it or not, I was buying Atari games before I had an emulator or an actual Atari. So I got this baby for free because the guy didn't think it worked. You should have seen the dust on this thing that hasn't been touched in 40 years. This is a Vader Black version, 4-switch. And I got this recently at that gaming store. And he also threw in Frogger with it, all for free. And you know why I threw in Frogger with it? Because the back, see how that black thing doesn't come up? If you collect Atari games, you'll know that black, you shouldn't see that whole circuit board there. So, yep, but he threw in Frogger with it. Yeah, that was my Atari collecting. Next thing I collected should have been the first thing I collected, and that is the Sony PlayStation. No, I'm not hitting up on it because of its games and how it was better than Nintendo, but it was simply a really cheap console, and I got one game for it. I only spent $20 in total between the two of these. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, you got the NES for $20 too, so what's wrong with it? Not everybody's gonna get the NES for $20. In fact, I am probably a rare circumstance to get it for $20 and 3 games with it. So I recommend collecting for the PlayStation, but we'll get into that towards the second half of the video. Finally, the console I picked up 3 days ago. Yeah, 3 days ago is the Sega Dreamcast. Boy, do I love this thing. I only have one game for him, and that's Speed Devils. But let me tell you, it's a great game, great console. I love it. The memory card is amazing if you've ever seen one. And yeah, these consoles right here, Nintendo 64 and Wii, they're not mine. They're my family's. They just don't play them anymore, and they don't even know they're in here. They've been in here for a while. So guys, now I'm going to show you where you should start collecting to get a good collection going, and so that you can have a few consoles and stuff on a budget, very cheap. If you're looking for cheap, I recommend the Sega Genesis. I know there's a store near me, the one that sells everything top dollar, has the first gen. This is the second model. The first model for $25, all the hookups, and personally I'm thinking about getting it even though I already have the second one because it's just such a cool console. I love it. So you can get the Model 2 online for dirt cheap. I think they're like $18 on Amazon. Just a little bit more expensive. So, the advantages of this console, it's freaking Sega. It's the same company that competed with Nintendo and had legitimate competition because it was such a great console. This competed with the Super Nintendo, and it was the #1 competitor. Next, I already told you guys, if you're on a budget, this is $20, all the hookups. Bought this one from the guy that sells really expensive consoles. This is, yep, $20, controllers, hookups. It's got power, you know, all that. I don't know why I said it has power, everything has power. I got one game set. All the games for right now are cheap. That's the thing I didn't tell you guys about the Sega. Games, they're going up right now, so console's cheap, get it now I guess, but games, you're gonna have to spend a little bit of money on. Like $5 to $10 for a game, in a case. Soviet Strike, I mean, I know this game is cheap, and I know there's a lot of games that are cheap. I know you can get discs that don't have a case, you can get them for, oh, I don't know, $1. I got that one for $1. Well, no, I'm being serious. The next console I'd collect for is probably the Sega Dreamcast. I know I just got this. I got it for $30. I know most people won't get it for $30, but at the cost that it is right now, about $45 for a good console, still cheaper than that and that. So I would recommend collecting for this. This is 3D graphics. It didn't compete with the Nintendo 64, but it was with the times of it. Because Sega was just done at that point. This is the last this is the last console. Yeah, this is the last Sega Dreamcast. I have no idea. This was the last console made by Sega, and let me tell you, they went out with a bang because this console is amazing. I just love, sometimes I'll just turn it on to hear their boot logo because it's just, I love the sounds and how it works. I would go with the Atari. This might be $50, all hookups, and that's for the wood grain one. The Vader Black, believe it or not, is a little bit more expensive, online at least. But yeah, I love the Atari. I've always wanted an Atari before I even started collecting, but they were so expensive online, and I just really wanted one. But there's no emulators. I had a Flashback, but believe it or not, I traded that in for a different game console. So yeah, I really recommend the Atari. Because once you have the system, the games are so cheap, you wouldn't even believe it. You can get them online for 50 cents. Guys, if this thing stops recording one more time, I'm going to be pissed. You can get them online for 50 cents. Yes, and you can get them in store, or in like a retro game store for like $1, I think. Finally, guys, last but definitely least, yes. I hate the NES. Don't hate on me. If you're a new collector and you don't have any consoles yet and you're thinking about getting the NES, don't. I understand that the cartridges look awesome. I know, that's what I did it for. But the games, honestly, you'll get them and you'll only play Super Mario Brothers. Guaranteed. You will never play them all the way through. Oh, and you have to blow in the console for about 2 hours before you can get the console to start playing. You can't save. That's to be expected, though. It's not a big deal. And everybody is collecting for this console. As you can see, me included. Yeah, games are like almost $10 right now. So I don't recommend collecting for this console. It's going to be really expensive for you, and then you're going to want to stop collecting because you're not going to have a lot of games. System's really expensive. It's not a recommendation. I know you're thinking, well, you obviously did it. That was your first console ever. Well, I also was never going to get it until I luckily found that one guy on the side of the street. Now, you could have, if you can get the console for $30, get it. If you can't, let it go. Don't collect for it. Collect for the Sega. It was better, and personally, the games are a bit better too. Well, obviously, because that's 16-bit and that's 8-bit. Well, okay, besides the fact, don't collect for the NES if it's expensive. It'll always be expensive. It's going up in value. I know I'm getting a Super Nintendo, but I will probably not be collecting many games for it because it's expensive. I just want to get the consoles. The games will be there forever. So guys, that is pretty much it for how I would collect. I would go Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Sega Dreamcast, Atari, and then Nintendo. But it's like that's the cost-efficient way to do it. If it were up to me, I would go Atari, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Nintendo. Just based on experience. I love the Atari. I absolutely love the graphics. Because you have to really imagine the stuff. Everything's with your imagination. The games are dirt cheap. I plan on getting a whole bunch this next coming week. And I'm going to do a game pickups video. I'll name it something different. I personally like some YouTubers that do that. Metal Jesus Rocks is one of them. And he's a really good game collector. I watch his videos all the time. I don't want to copy him, but it was because of him that I'm starting this YouTube channel. So that is pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.